Have you ever received an invitation to join a project and try and carry out a specific task using a model, but realize that that model doesn't actually serve the purpose that you intended it for? I certainly have many times, and the worst case scenarios, we end up with multiple models for the same purpose and have that overlapping by multiple teams trying to model the same thing. That causes an immense amount of waste. So let's take a look at how we can define much more specific information containers of requirements so that teams understand who is responsible for what, at what stage in time. Let's take a look. As we have defined our requirements in these folders, the structural concrete as an example, we can start to define containers of information requirements for each of these different stages throughout a project. If I click to add this, I start to define exactly the geometry that's required, but I can also increase that if this element is something that has a geometric representation. And I can also open this and start to add even more detail about it. Each BIM use case requires a unique approach to creating information, and in Plannerly we work with these information containers in order to define exactly what's required, following the ISO 19650 level of information need and multiple other frameworks like level of detail, level of development, and so forth. All of these can be set up and chosen inside of the project settings. Once we've defined the geometric requirements and how reliable we need that to be, we can also define a description and checklists and attachments and things like that. Let's do that quickly here. So if I've got a description that I would like to add, I can simply type it in the box and hit save. And if I have a set of checklist items, I can copy those and paste them one by one, or if I have a group of them as a list and hit enter, you can see that it creates one per line quickly and efficiently for you. If we've got an attachment that we need to add, we can simply drag and drop that into the task, and we can see that it's now also getting some information, some metadata related to it that we'll talk about in File Manager later on. We upload that task, upload that specification, and now it's attached to this task if you were to open it and understand inside of the File Manager as well. Once we've defined a lot of this detail about what is required and exactly how to create it, we can even define really detailed information requirements. And for example, let's take in this one where we might have a concrete compression strength that's required. This we'll talk about in a lot more detail later on. Once we've set this container of requirements up, we can then also start to assign it to specific team members and teams. We track every single piece of history in the golden thread of activities for this container of requirements. This is not limited to BIM or model elements. You can also define requirements for the precast drawing package, for example. In the expert level, you'll also see us defining the task information delivery plans and master information delivery plans following the ISO 19650 workflow. Defining your project scope as a set of these containers of information requirements with all of the checklist items and everything defined in a way that teams know exactly what the acceptance criteria are. It helps teams to establish a clear scope, something that is going to be agreed upon and then followed. So there you have it. When you use a highly visual, templatized approach with a collaborative environment, the aim is shifting from blame to a problem solving and getting everyone involved so that they can collaborate to get an agreement in a visual way. We've seen a massive improvement in project success. So remember, don't plan late, plan early with Plannerly.